Welcome to a DropTent Media production.
Hey, hi.
Hello, howdy, hi.
Our most musical friend.
That's right. Just as I was playing my favorite instrument,
That's true. What?
I farted. My butt.
Can that be the beginning?
Are we recording already?
It's it.
Hello and welcome to the Magical Misery Tour, where funny people fart life's unfartiest things.
Ooh.
Hey now. This is a very special episode. We've only done so many very special episodes of the Magical Misery Tour, but
Does special mean lazy?
no,
No.
special means our guest canceled on us in the last
that's what
minute.
special means.
So that's okay. How you doing, Neil?
I'm good. I'm good, buddy. You're a little therapy boy. You came back from sweet therapy.
That's right. I have a fear of elevators because I'm a pussy, y'all.
No.
Also, I was on an elevator that dropped me 2 floors and then wouldn't open for a while, and it was very, very scary.
Not enough for actual trauma, though, I feel. That's
Enough for...
Let's get into this. Your dad died. Let's start there. Let's get into...
Okay, so
No, you
my
just talk about
my dad was champion 8 years running of mixing whiskey and OxyContin, and he got a bit too good at it.
It's such a weird...
Hey, buddy, the only people who know where the edge is are those who go over it.
Oh, that's very true.
And that actually paints it wrong. He wasn't abusing it for long. He was prescribed it for an injury, and he was just a fucking idiot. So
Yeah.
he was on OxyContin for like a few weeks.
Well, I mean, as we know now, I mean, it's also in the prescriptions of OxyContin. You can see that it doesn't actually treat pain in the way that they would want it to. It's like you only take it every 12 hours. And then like, well, I get pain after 8 hours. You need to take more. Blah, blah, blah.
And also thinking with the opioid crisis, it's very
dude,
possible.
Purdue Pharma owes you money.
There you go. It's very possible in an alternate reality, instead of dying, my dad just became a fucking fat middle-aged junkie. So
It would have been cool if he like really swung like hard Christian. Like he got clean
ooh, that's a good...
and just
that would've been
swung.
interesting.
Oh, that'd be so weird. You'd be like, Dad, we know you're doing this just because you're clean now, but
Yeah.
could you stop harshing our buzz? Because your mom's not like, hard Christian. Your mom's just like a sweet lady who likes community.
Jess, you need to get right with the Lord, and you know who else I think needs to get right with the Lord?
Maiden.
Those N words, really.
That's right. I forgot he had some thoughts. just really.
He didn't bring it up like that. I've said before, there were multiple family dinners where they would be watching ABC Action News with Jim Gardner, and the story was always like, such and such. There was a robbery on 8th in New York. And then they show a photo of the suspect, who would inevitably be a black man. And my family would simultaneously all yell, "Guilty!"
Jesus Christ.
And there I am, just a growing boy, just playing with my Legos. Like, what? Is that embedding in my subconscious? I'm sure that won't be a problem.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Look, Ultimate Warrior does a spin punch. Boom! Take that, N-words. Yeah.
This is...
Starting hot.
That's how you indoctrinate them. That's how they get in there. You're indoctrinated by the indoctrinated. It's like, well, I mean, by the subliminal, right? Like, I mean, like Fox News or something, or not even Fox. Let's just say the news of that day trying to harp on like fear is they don't realize how much damage they're doing to maybe just a parent who's then bringing that onto their child.
Right. And that's also like a big talking point for the alt-right, where it's like, whenever they're like, oh, you see these commercials for like, burglary alarms, and it's always like middle-aged white dudes. We know that's not who's robbing the houses. Like, well, yeah, but we also kind of see that perpetuates a bad thing. Maybe Brink Security shouldn't have, yeah, did you see that up in there?
Oh,
like, yeah, no, that's not a good
do
thing.
The example, but
I'm doing an example of a bad thing.
Yes, that is true, and a lot of people will still find that insensitive, which is a bummer that they don't see that you're clearly doing the bad thing.
But it's funny that I'm actively. You know what I did last night for the first time?
Yeah, what'd you do?
I went back and I started deleting old Facebook posts.
Oh,
from way back in the day.
Oh my god!
Just in case, you never know.
Yeah,
I knew there was stuff in there. I was fumbling. I was
feeling
for something.
You really think you're gonna make it? I mean, the audacity to think you're gonna, which we are recording on. Thank you.
Audacity. Audacity Premium, not worth it.
Nope.
Continue.
No, not absolutely great as a free service. Do you really think he might make pay dirt there? He might actually become something. Make something of yourself.
I have a lot of confidence in my material. I feel like I need to find an audience, and maybe my audience isn't 22-year-olds who are enjoying their life.
It doesn't exclude them.
It doesn't exclude them.
Right.
I was a 22-year-old who was somewhat enjoying his life.
But in the face of, you do your material very much, I think, like it's thrown in the face of 22-year-olds.
But keep in mind, my very first comedy idol was actually, well, I'd actually say equal, given the time. Their rankings have changed considerably, would have been George Carlin and his obvious equal, Dennis Leary.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, old Dennis Leary.
Oh, boy.
Steals all his material from Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, never wrote anything funny after Bill Hicks died.
It's kind of on the nose.
Yeah.
I always thought it was always weird. I really didn't do enough investigation into like Dennis Leary when I was even. I was like, oh, this guy yells nice. Listen to the albums. All right, I like this. And then when you find out like Bill Hicks, you're like, there's some weird crossover that seems to be happening.
Before I even knew the Bill Hicks thing, all I knew was like, wow, he only did 2 specials and his second one sucked and he never did another one.
Right.
I remember his second special, I believe it came out in like 1998, and a numerous callback he would hit repeatedly was, what the fuck? www.whatthefuck.com.
Oh, right.
And that was the joke.
That was,
Yeah.
Right. And that's clearly, I think Dennis Leary says the exact same thing, I think.
Well, no, that was Dennis Leary.
That was. I thought you said Bill Hicks for that.
No.
Sorry,
I was saying, no, Bill Hicks didn't make it to the internet age. He died in 93.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he had a great first thing and no cure for cancer.
Yeah,
and he stole a lot of the, but what I'm getting
a lot
at,
of the bravado. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, what I'm getting at here is I loved the idea of like the truth teller. Like George Carlin's like, nothing's going to happen with you when you die and the government doesn't give a fuck about you. And how do you like that? But being like literally like the spoonful of sugar and like the nasty medicine.
Right. Sure.
And that was my big thing. I love George Carlin because he made me fucking think and he challenged a lot of my stuff. Yeah. So I'm saying I'm as good as George Carlin. That's what I'm getting at.
Wow.
I skipped the whole nice phase of the, Al, the hippy dippy weatherman, and I went straight to.
I won't alienate you in this group at all.
Yeah.
Fine, just to say.
It would be so much better if I actually had a hair tie and I could have gone ponytail.
Yeah, you
right
would have
now.
brought it back. That'd have been good. Now we cut, and then you have like the same, like he wore the jeans and the black shirt.
Yep.
Like,
jeans, turtleneck.
Turtleneck.
I like to be known as the young, fat George Carlin.
Yeah.
I keep looking to the TV instead of the fucking.
Yeah, it's really funny to watch. Why you do
But
that?
no, I am confident enough in my material that I think I could make something of myself. And I'm reaching an age now where, let's just say, not only just getting older, where it's like, okay, I got to do this now.
Right.
And so it's not only like, okay, it's time to shit or get off the pot, but it's also, there might have been something over the weekend where it was a little like, don't I have a little bit of stroke in this fucking scene?
I think in thinking about it,
the answer is no.
Yeah.
Honestly, it seems like we should have just stopped in later. We should have never signed up. We should have showed up and like, hey, could you drop me on?
Yeah. There's always that kind of stuff. Yeah. There's a show in Philly that we both went to over the weekend or whatever. Or a thing that happens. It's, I don't know if to share. Well, I don't know what to classify that as. Technically, it's, I would call it. I mean,
it's a hybrid showcase.
No, well, yeah.
Open mic.
Oh, I just meant more of the whole ambiance of like, it's unto its own thing. It's more of like I call it a party mic.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For comics, I mean that's an inside little more
because the party aspect of it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed hanging out in the back,
Totally.
and like, some guys were dancing around. I had my lovely girlfriend Perry with me.
Yes, she's a delight, of course. As much as I feel like dealing with her. But I just been laying in. I just want to keep trying to harp that point.
Well, she actually said that she loved he opened up to me. Like, I love that Neil likes me. Like, oh no, he doesn't like anybody.
No, I do. Oh my God. I built in this thing as a joke and then everyone gets to run with it. I go like, all right, guys, it's enough. I was kidding. Like, it's not. No, your girlfriend's a delight, but I have to make a joke in there.
Yeah. feelings are scary and should be pushed away.
No. I did. Well, I mean, friends with it. If anything, she's fine. Now, let's not. They'll do this off air in terms of like, she's the one who's just like, I don't know. You guys haven't even been friends. Are you guys even friends? Like, she's the one doing that shit, trying to clearly, girlfriend Perry over there, trying to like clearly undercut us and get in between our skin.
Yeah.
And I'm over here like, why don't you fucking?
She keeps putting us in situations where the only logical conclusion is for me and Neil to make out to get the joke out of the way.
Yeah.
I think she knows what she's getting into.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was very nice on your lap the other night. That was nice to comment. That was a great photo. I like that. I like that you also covered my belly because in the first take I said like, my gut looks fat.
Yeah, I was like, don't worry about this, boy. Yeah. This is all I know what you need. Don't worry about it.
But the point is, we got bumped back big time on a thing. And you know what? It shit happens, and I understand that. But it's also, it's like, haven't I been doing this long enough that I can like spit on your floor and I'm still up there?
But I don't think you've been doing it long enough with those people. That's what I think. I think sometimes the bravado or the clout that comedians think they have are really not actually, it's not as tangible as you think it is. It's really not. And even to say like, I didn't go, and this is like, just, I'm not even complaining about it. I'm just saying like, if going up in like the first hour and a half or 2 hours of a show means anything to me, I didn't go up twice in a row, whatever. And later thinking about it, I go like, well, I know those guys and had them on some stuff, but what does that mean? It doesn't really mean anything, I guess.
Right.
I think you build in, I think a lot of, I think it has much more to do with friendship than anything. Yeah. I think that's all the times like we think like, oh, we're not doing them. Those people slighted us. It really just comes down to.
I know. None of this was an intentional slight on anybody.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's just you have we don't talk about it enough of like you have a kind of a large network of comics, and then you have these little segments of pushes and pulls that need to happen. I mean, I think we're experiencing it a lot of times in Philly in the same way, at lower scale with different celebrities because you hear about it. I mean, we've heard about it when we hear other comedians talk about it in like, California and stuff like that with like bigger names. And they're like, yeah, I got bumped for Eddie Murphy. He just came in, things like that. Like,
I think wasn't Mark Normand or somebody very specifically like got bumped by Dane Cook and was like vocal about, it was TJ Miller. Like, hey, fuck you.
Right.
Yeah. And I understand that too, because Dane Cook could show up to a fucking nursery school and they'll give him 5 hours.
Sure. Yeah. And it's not only like, it's not even like showing up, and then it's just like time. Apparently some comics would just like not only bump you, but do like 2 hours of, stuff. It's like, all right, well, that's
Amy Schumer famously interrupted a guy in the middle of his first headline set to be like, hey, can I get 6 million in the middle of it?
I feel like this is too inside baseball.
It is too inside baseball, but I want to go, I'm reaching for a bigger thing of just that feeling of like, am I putting a lot of time into something I'm ultimately going to fail
like that
at?
Constantly.
Do I feel that like, can I actually pull this off, or am I kidding myself?
Yeah.
And how do we process those feelings, and how do we deal with that? We'll be taking calls now. 8, 5,
on the board.
6, 4.
Phil, go ahead, get it at us, Phil. What are you thinking? You're gonna
I'm not really confident in my ability to. I want to ask my boss for a pay raise, but I know the budget's kind of low this year. What do you think I should?
Well, Phil, by your voice, you sound like a pussy. So it sounds like we're gonna need to make sure to fire you already. I think is what you got a confidence up, buddy.
I understand that. I guess. I was
See, you've already taken defeat so easily.
I was glad to be part of the team. I always got picked last.
People are glad to be a part of the team in Russia, and they take them out back and put them, bull in their brain. So you know what I mean, Phil? I mean, I think you're a great team member.
Could you imagine all the attention you get? I'm the belle of the ball.
I love soft Jesse Drake. I'm like, I'm the belle of the ball. Like a lot of B's and P's. Like, I'm a belle of the ball tonight. This is gonna be a great night for socializing. Sorry.
There you go. Ooh, that's a PPK. I heard that's a good one. He settled in. I know it'll be over quick. I just want to enjoy it for the spotlight.
Really, if we can do it in here in the ring as it goes out into the woods.
I'm thinking of how the acoustics will sound for you.
Like the NPR, like Russian agent, or like,
this is
CCP.
wait,
CCP.
don't execute me.
Yeah, please. Yeah, we're discussing the frailty of Russian oligarchs this week and how they affect plutonium.
We'll be going to reporter Nakuja Palalesia.
Yeah, it's always.
I remember when I loved NPR. It's like
Beautiful,
to be on NPR, you need to have a dumb voice, and not even ethnic. I'm not talking about like Zach.
Threw me off that one. All right.
Well, no,
sorry.
I'm not even saying like Zachariah is
ethnic. Yeah. There's and also the way people saying ethnic is always funny.
right, but it is also funny.
But it's also just
hearing a
crazy
very
names.
serious person like today. We'll be talking about the downfall of American democracy. I am your host, Cabbage Alawinka Jones Click Noise. The third, and I will be with you.
Yeah. I love some of that. No, I know. Yeah, some of them are just like Gamakalovich. Like it's like, I threw a bunch of letters in there and numbers. Who knows what my name is? And people have made the jokes. Also, I love that so much when you try. You couldn't guess if that's what I mean with there's names. You could not guess them if someone had a gun to your head.
Oh yeah,
like
no.
Just any NPR person right now, and then you read them up. You're like, duh. You get like maybe two in. You're like, I don't even.
Yeah, it's just.
Or no, I should say that.
I'm just glad to have been a contestant.
I should say this correctly. You would be able to guess them, but I would say that NPR names have the highest ratio of if you didn't after ever spell them out first. Like if someone had to read them, you'd be like, I don't know this person.
Oh, I remember.
Right, like-
Ophira Eisenberg. is one.
Ophira Eisenberg's a
Eisenberg, not
good
that
one.
bad, but Ophira, like what the? That's.
Ophira, right? We're getting into.
I'm
deep.
picturing a peacock.
Did you ever think they had doubts about whether they were going to make it? Probably not.
I think they're the type of people that actively still hate themselves despite succeeding.
You think so? They sound super happy. I listened to a bunch, and they sound like they. Making it isn't like a thing. They go like, we're about reporting and
Right, exactly.
try to get to the human depth and
I actually haven't listened in a while. I used to love Prairie Home Companion until poor
Wow.
Garrison Keillor got thrown down the poop chute.
Oh yeah, what did he do? He like touched
He
black boy.
he rubbed a woman's back, and 30 years later, that was sexual assault.
I have no facts, so I'm gonna say if that's what happened, that's kind of crazy.
It's a little
banana
crazy.
sandwich, but I mean, I'll probably also. I've never. I think when that happened, right? I remember like it felt like because you and I did listen to that. We listened to it in the car.
And
you and I would listen to it all the time.
And it's funny because I read of so many articles that just showed my hatred of like modern pop culture. There are so many think pieces out there from like the late 2000s that are just on how horrible and unfunny Prairie Home Companion is. True. And it's like it's about more than it's
not
a fucking
about
where
funny.
else can I listen to a radio play? I know there's podcasts now.
Sure.
But this is like the pre-podcast era for me, and I just turned
Right.
it on and like he's playing fucking oh god, I don't even remember his name. I just want to say it was pretty much Jack Trilby Private Eye, but not Jack Trilby. Jack
No one
Trilby
knows who that
being the
is.
character played by our
Ramon Bender.
Guy Noir,
Oh,
Private
sorry.
Eye. That's what it was.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Yeah,
it was just fun, and they were dumb dad jokes, but they were also like just fun.
well, Tom Papa does those now. Does
Oh,
the dumb
okay.
dad jokes, but yeah.
And I remember they had musical segments. One of my favorite things I ever heard was they sang a very sparse arrangement of "I Can't Help Falling in Love with You," and the main instrument was the entire crowd singing along. Enough that when we did the Uncle Chicken Bone variety show,
Sure.
the whole end of the show was the whole crowd singing that song, and
Yeah.
it was fucking beautiful.
It was. I think it brought for me and my exposure. I mean, it was always kind of make this short. I was always enamored by people who also brought in multiple things. You know, like comedy, music, and like all those things coming
Yes.
together. And then when when I started to, because I actually didn't listen to that growing up. I
Me
I
neither.
had no idea. And then with you and stuff, so I found what your fascination was the same thing.
I first found it because I would always work delivery driver as for pizza places.
Little pizza boy.
That's right, little pizza boy. Haven't delivered a pizza in 2 fucking years. This is amazing.
know. I loved you,
but
better
it was such good money. But what happened was my iPod got stolen by a junkie New Year's Eve 2013. And this was
I saw that movie, not The Rock, and it was good.
That's right. And this was the pre-smartphone era. So it's like, well, I don't want to listen to just fucking.
Was it?
I didn't have a smartphone.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have a smartphone until like
I thought we had like
20
razors then, but I always get the timelines mixed up.
Yeah, I didn't have a smartphone
Right
until
in, if you could, yeah.
2014, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. But so I started just looking for stuff, and obviously regular music radio is fucking garbage.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to hear Collective Soul 4 times a day. I got just the thing for you. But I discovered NPR and like, oh, okay, this is cool and keep up with it. And then I put on Prairie Home Companion, like, this is fucking great. But anyway,
We've been talking about this too much.
well, the angle I want to take this, because I mentioned the Uncle Chicken Bone variety show. One of the big things is worrying, like, I'm never going to make it, is wondering what projects, like, what's the next, what's a project that's going to elevate my standing either in the local community or maybe, hopefully, nationally at some point. And I kicked around a few things. I bring this up because Neil will tell you I am ready to cancel this podcast every fucking week. It definitely needs a reformatting. There's like, hey, I know what we should do. We should interview people about their life story. Also, nobody knows who they are. Maybe someone will blow up eventually.
Sure.
Probably not. But I do actually enjoy the show. But it's also, if I'm not getting enough out of it, then, what are we doing?
I mean, a lot of other podcasts probably wouldn't talk to you about how they would change. I think though, what we're hitting on is just you and I talking about, because I think we like what we're talking about. The whole thing is formatting it and making it so that people don't feel so alienated, like we're spotlighting people that they really can't either not relate to, because you can relate to a lot of the stories I think we've heard.
Right, exactly.
But why would you want to?
When I look at the big comedy podcast, the thing they all have in common is none of them are interview format. Sure. They're hanging out, they're riffing, they're talking shit, and whoever the guest is, they're just jumping in on that. So, I mean, if that's the route, that's the way I'd rather go. We've been doing that more lately. We've been doing more video reactions, even though I need to get a better computer because that's throwing a lot of work on your plate to edit that out. But also, like, that whole variety show thing we did. I loved that variety show. We did it once. It was a big success, and we never did it again. Sure. Just because it's very hard to get I wrote the whole fucking thing, and it was hard to get people in on it. And if I'm being honest with myself, a good half of the show didn't work because we were doing sketches, and the stage was not mic'd for sketches.
It was very, very rough. Yeah. But you have a good grasp on all that. Like, you know what I think you need?
What's
that? Another great comic. I mean, Kat Mosley, but she and I don't want to put her on blast or anything. I'm pretty sure she knows, but
bring her on.
No, she's spectacular. Yes, she is spectacular. She did talk about an avenue that something she's explored and has been successful with is a grant. And it sounds like maybe you want to look into maybe getting a little money behind you and putting on a little show. I mean, because your variety show is spectacular. I mean, you have the disciplines for it. I mean, that's what I mean. You're competent in music, and obviously you've been doing comedy long enough. You're show performing both.
It's the strongest showcase of my skills.
And also in terms of your perspective, it's also very different.
I fucking love variety shows.
Sure, yeah.
To me, there is no reason you should not love a variety show. It's the thing they always say in wrestling. It's the 3-ring circus. I say it's wrestling to immediately get to start. But the whole idea of a 3-ring circus.
Well, reality television does this.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I was just watching Rhythm and Flow today. I hate reality television. Okay. And I'm like, it's up. But like, I mean, it does bring in, like, Rhythm and Flow is a show that brings in musical talent. And then, of course, with the reality portion, you have drama and stuff like that, and portions that aren't written, Right. But, they're choreographed.
The whole idea is there's something for everybody.
Kind of the modern variety show is what I'm trying to say in ways.
Yeah,
because you have dramatic segments of like people saying something that's very dramatic after the third take, and they cut out the other.
Well, I think you also have that. You have that straight away. You at least have 2 with all the just the contest shows, because if I go with American Idol, that's how far removed I am from fucking things that I'm referencing.
I got you.
Or America's Got Talent. But it's always like you get the fuck ups and you get the people who are like really overcoming shit, and you get like the Susan Boyles where it's I love that
everyone hated her because she was ugly.
I love that it showcases that, because
it's fucked up.
In the immediate,
whole thing
in the
is
immediate
fucking crazy.
aftermath, it's like she's you wouldn't think it, but she's so talented. But you see the entire crowd stink eyeing her when she works out, like, this fucking bitch ain't better than me and nothing.
It's so weird.
Go on and do something, grandma.
When that happened, I was like, America just is forgetting what they're doing in the moment, because it was the clear distinction of like, can you believe this ugly woman's talented?
Yeah.
Like, and no one was if anything, they should have been offended. That was when the offense should have happened.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you got it. It's just like...
Yeah.
The overall moral of that was like ugly people are capable of things.
She came out and say, I didn't think when she came out, I was like, oh, that she couldn't be talented. And then people came out and then they were like, well, can you believe it? I was like, well, I don't think voice has anything to do with the way
Just that instant judgment. She walks on stage like,
well, you got to remember,
I don't want to fuck her. She can't be that good a singer.
well, see, this show was so predicated on, this is what I mean about how I don't want to use the word toxic. It is fucking garbage. I mean, I hate reality television. I do. I think it's disgusting. At least on Netflix, reality television at least gets to be like Cardi B gets to say, you know, you're about this close. She just said this. You're about this close to being off of this show. Like, you know, that little pussy hair that you have? Like, it's real at least. Like, Cardi B gets to be a little bit more of Cardi fucking B.
See, I'm actually going to be dipping into that soon because my girl really wants me to watch Drag Race.
Sure, no, I got you. Yeah, of course. I've watched some episodes. But like, I need the realness. I cannot do fucking like reality television because it's so. I mean, Dana Gould gets it right when he says what his joke in I Know What's Wrong in that segment. He goes like, reality television is so far removed from anything that is reality. Really, I mean, you're watching people who aren't writers, and this is Dana Gould. You're watching people who aren't writers tell people what to do who aren't actors, how they think they would respond in a scenario that is not real. Well, you are watching a modern production of nothing. Like, you know what I mean?
Again, if anything, though, that is the ultimate, like, that really is a good representation of the industry, which is, oh no, if you get into this, you're going to be taking notes from people who don't know a fucking thing.
I know, but
all the time.
I don't get on that fucking route. You know what I mean? Right. Like, that's the thing. I get so far away from people who are that route. Like, I want to be, I want also the authority above us who are, I don't know, there is no one, but like, you know, who are making these shows to go like, we shouldn't be doing they're not going to do that because there's money, but they're not going to do that. But that's what it irritates me. But I mean, I feel like with your variety show, like idea, I feel like you have such another voice to like represent. I do think you, and this isn't just coming from a friendship. I've seen it in action. I've seen how you're very well read. You understand show dynamics. You understand musical, ability, and you have some yourself already. So it's like, I think of like, oh, you want to present and comedy all wrapped in. I think it always have a comedy note to it. So I think it's there. It's just making those shows is much more of a pain in the ass. And I know you feel
no, it's what I would need to do is I would need to actively form a team or a troupe.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, just the kind of people, I mean, really, I should just fucking ask someone. Just like, hey, I want to do this. And it's really weird in stand-up just because it's so independent that even though a lot of it is like, sitting around riffing with people, coming up with ideas, there's an immediate repulsion to that. Like, hey, bud, you want to sit down? You want to write some stuff out? Like, not really. No. I go solo.
Well, the problem with, there's other examples that could be held that you could hold on to. I mean, Lonely Island Gang. Like, you have other instances where people got together to make something that was collaborative. I think that you
and
have
it's
the
also
problem.
It's very tricky finding collaborators because here's the one thing: you and I are both very funny guys, but. Funny thing is, that's not even crazy our relationship. More our relationship is if we're drunk, we're fucking cracking up. But you and I have always fallen into these more serious patterns in our friendship.
Yeah, I guess so. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I always thought of
I thought we were perfectly funny together, I guess.
I never thought of us ever being funny. No, with you, I mean, it was always, I think it was a time in my life when I was seeing like having much more fun. I think that's when we were writing more skits, when we were, a little bit, younger and like with Mike L and like those guys. I think we were having a little more fun. And I think now it's just a little change. And I hate that I don't want that to be. I think I actually need to change that and to make sure that I'm still having fun. I think that's the thing to never forget with anything. I don't want to be like, oh, we're authorities on anything, but like, just don't stop having fun. That's only the whole point, is just have fun. Right. So with you, though, I had fun arguing with you. That was the fun part. Because you and I would never hold actual malice to each other. I think we got it off the bat of like our dynamic. Right. Of like, yeah, sure, I could be fucking irritated at his thoughts and how he might think them, or laughing at them hysterically because I just don't understand what the fuck happened. But also, yeah, you respect it. And also then then be amazed at your wealth of knowledge because you'll drop like, yeah, oh, sure. Oh, you don't fucking know Russian literary knowledge from the 1800s? The fuck's wrong with you,
What
Neil?
do you mean you don't know who Stinking Lizaveta is?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever never read a book?
I have
What
to
the
look
fuck?
that up now. I have to, I have to pull that up and be irritated. But yeah, it's that kind of thing where, yeah, you kind of had, then I got to deal with Adam Nutter. Don't even get me started. And I just put him on blast for no reason. But no, I mean, these are people that I interact with that I go like, you all have these strengths that come together. I think yours are, you have a great depth of knowledge, and I know it's going to be interesting. We just need to, I don't know, man. Yeah, we need to.
A lot of it is like, if I could focus on the right project, this would take off. And I got to admit, a lot of this, I mean, it's not a 1-to-1 because we saw what happened.
I mean, are you worried though? I mean, you gotta do that in the right way. And I think there's some experience that we would need to garner. I think there's some stuff.
Well, what I was going to say is that, again, it's not a 1-to-1 because we saw how it kind of worked out. But honestly, Shane Gillis is an inspiration to me because it's a fucking guy we saw, like the fact that he was open micing it with us, and like the route is.
Yeah, but you open mic at the same time we were. But I mean, that's I get.
Well, yeah, but we were a little bit behind. But the fact that there's a guy in the same scene, the route is plotted. Like you can see the steps he got that elevated him. Sure,
I don't know, man. I feel like that's not. I just dissociate myself from that kind of idea. Maybe just out of nihilism. I don't know.
I need that little bit of a boost. I need to see somebody
that
I knew that's like, this is actually an attainable thing.
I mean, it's, you know what, here, I'll say this. I'll say that I think that what you're butting up against is the fact that we see a lot of actually talented people that are still kind of trapped in trapped in that cycle of like that person really hasn't still broke.
Dave Premiano should be one of the top comics in the city.
Dave Premiano should absolutely be. He's a very funny writer. He's a great writer. I mean, prolific even. Like, I mean, he can write jokes like no one's business. I think they're good. They're edgy, and he's got them for days. His stage delivery is unique. It's authentic. Like, if we were talking like that kind of podcast, we'd be like, what the fuck's happening with that? But what I don't want to do is be like, oh, I get that you saw like what happened with Gillis and that, but I do think that's like a microcosm that is something that I don't. Everything that happened.
It hasn't reflected anything for you personally.
Yeah, I don't. I see him as a very talented individual who did what he does and succeeded, whether people think that's offensive or not or whatever.
Right. But even on a less, it is a huge thing for me.
But I get that.
We saw Brian Six on Saturday.
Sure.
And Brian Six, not at the same level success-wise. I think even he'd say that. But the fact that I listen to the Bonfire radio show every day at work, and people I know personally are showing up on that show makes everything, it's like I can feel it on my fingertips.
Right. I get you.
And it encourages me more. And I'll actually say another thing. I said this during therapy. The fact that my love...
You're going to be gloating like this kind of bullshit therapy nonsense. I mean, I'm upset about it, but go ahead.
Well, no, this is more something I said there. The fact that my love life is going so good, it's making the things I'm unhappy with less tolerable. Because now that this big thing is going good, it's like, I'm very happy this is going good, but it's making me more like, fuck this job, fuck this scene. I can do better than this.
I get you.
I'm optimistic. I don't know why. I don't know what the fuck that feels like. It's gross and a little sticky.
Oh, no, I get you. And then you have the chasm of that happening like over the weekend and stuff, and that can play reverse. I'm imagining that played reverse against that.
Well, you know what? It was
in a lot of ways.
It was a mix of that. It was a lot of frustrations with the podcast, just because. And I'll be honest, I'm not doing everything I can to promote. Sure. But I still think the format is something that's going to kneecap us.
Oh, of course.
Because I can let go. This podcast, the most downloads we've had of any episode is 200. The second most downloads is 100. And then everything else is like much lower. So
gotcha.
So it's annoying.
I think it's, I mean, I don't know. You want to talk about it on air in terms of like, I mean, I think it's a long game. But you're right. Formatting is a thing. I mean, people don't know. I mean, I also, unfortunately, I would love to hear what the fuck people had to say.
Yeah.
They can easily contact us. It's not that hard. I feel like
the one time I put that out, the only person who responded was
my sister. My fucking sister reached out.
it was somebody who's a mutual friend of us, made
gotcha.
closer to you.
Yeah,
I might have introduced you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
And her advice was, I love everything. Don't stop. Like, well, thanks a lot.
Here's the weird part. Again, I get so many compliments on this podcast. I think
That's what blows my fucking mind. People have said, like, I don't even think of the
you're
Magical Mystery
likable.
Tour anymore.
It's just it needs to be a and I also, you see how I did that, guys? I went, you're likable, as if I am just automatically likable. No, but what I mean is, like, I think with your vision and everything that you want, but we both know that. So, guys, this podcast is going to change. It's going to adapt, and I think we know that it should. And maybe we do things in the future when we have somebody on, and maybe we pull somebody in that you guys really want to know more about their life. Maybe we do segments that are like that, and you can go on.
I told you my original idea was to start segmenting it out, even start doing like fucking bits.
Sure.
You know,
Well,
you know, I'm a fan of old radio, Opie and Anthony.
Yeah, but
Ron
I meant
and
more
Fez.
of like we you know, if the podcast changes and you guys don't maybe immediately you're like, oh, why are they changing it? You know, we might still go back and do an interview format that is, if we have somebody that's kind of, you want to know about their life.
If we could get somebody big, yeah.
I wasn't going
Well, not
I'm trying to be
necessarily big, but
soft,
somebody
but thank you
interesting.
for,
No, I gotcha.
I'm saying it explicitly. But you know, we might do like Patreon episodes that are $1 and you just go on and maybe we dive into the deep shit if they want to give that deep shit up.
I look at it like this:
that,
when
you know.
when people are sharing things on social media, saying, "Hey, you need to check this out,"
Right.
it's very rarely like, you got to learn about this person you've never heard of before.
Sure.
So that's why that's part of the reason I've been trying to add some of the videos in there. I thought the videos were fun.
No, I think you're right. I think it breaks down to like crazy stories. While there are a lot of stuff you can go back and be like, that's very unique, and I've never heard a story like that before in terms of crazy.
Yes.
So we would need to pull those clips and like present them to you, and we should. And you know, again, it's more work, but you know, we want to do that because there's some great clips that I think just in passing, people are like, "What happened? That's insane. That's crazy stories on this podcast." But I think you're right, though. I think, and then it'll be fun. So we'll do some changes. You know, if anybody has any opinions, tell us. It's not that hard. You guys can contact us very easily. DropTent Podcasts
If anybody-
at gmail.com. You can do that way, or even Magical Misery Tour and get on our social media. and check all that stuff
message
out.
us on the Facebook.
We would love to know.
Click like.
Yeah.
Give us your advice.
I mean-
unless your initials are BARC, in which case, thank you for the
Don't-
support, but it isn't helping. We love you.
Yes. Yeah,
I'll see you Saturday. That'll be fun.
But
Going back to where it all started. Sorry.
I mean, what's the darkest? Did I tell you what I saw on the dark web?
You went on the dark web?
Did you not know about this?
I didn't know you went
So
on
you
the
can
dark
pay
web.
$1 and go on the Nerds with Words Patreon.
I thought you were going to say you can.
I went on the
$1 toward the dark web.
on the dark web. $1. No,
Stare into the unspeakable abyss of humanity. Just $1.
Well, I had seen. Okay, so for this podcast, just I don't know if you don't leave us on this. You're gonna have to have something after this to back us up. But dude, I
have an idea.
I got rattled. I got rattled, and I mean, so here's the thing: I got double tapped in terms of like Magical Misery stuff. You showed me the blog in which that woman was
Darkness in my heart.
Darkness in my heart, which is such a flowery name of
Yeah.
that, in which a woman is going severely into
Extreme self-harm.
extreme self-harm that is almost romantic. Like it was disgusting how like she had showcased things.
the one of them
underneath
was-
tendons.
There was one, there was one with like a scalpel behind like the Achilles tendon. There
so
was
white.
one that
So
was
white.
a brutal like gash cut with a single Hello Kitty Band-Aid over it.
fucking bull.
By the way, this isn't something I get off on. This is something that was presented to
This
me. And I
still
was like,
astounds
this is
you.
fucking
yes,
wow.
this still astounds you. If anything, you showcase it because of the very weird. We imagine. I mean, hopefully not, but I imagine she got help. But I imagine she didn't. Right. Because by the end, and what we're talking about is a blog in which like she's showing these pictures of more and more fucked up stuff.
Like the photo with her healed, just the scars.
Stop.
was bad.
It was, I mean, I put my phone up near the top of my thigh and you can see my femur bone because I've cut that deep already and the fat is there. Like we're looking at juicy steaks.
Yeah.
It's so gross. So I saw that. And then that weekend we go into the dark web.
Okay.
And I see a man, which we ended up looking up. One, we're getting there. We're getting just like, all right, well, what are the things to check out? Duh. Let's check out drugs first.
Right.
I mean, right?
Drugs.
So we go in.
hitmen.
You guys can see what the dark web looks like. It's kind of what you think, but really not. We're like, how much does it cost? How does it work? All that stuff you can find out, right? Like it's crazy. And it's also what you'll love to find out, which we've said is like they still have likes and stars. It's like,
wow.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Don's cocaine is so good. Like it's like, all right, guys, that's a little much.
Oh, like bitchy fucking white woman Yelp reviews.
Yeah, it is.
Don offered.
This cocaine was just okay. It was really not what I thought it would be, and it came in packaging that was a little obvious.
Artisan heroin. I would like to know his definition of the term artisan.
Right. So, but we go that, and then before you know it, it's something about, I don't know what we typed in, but it was just a guy, and there was a body on on a table, and they are open up the middle, but he is taking advantage of the productive entrance.
Okay.
And you can see his through. Yes. And
I believe that's called a moonroof.
No. Well, this has been the Magic Victory Tour. This has been a lot of fun. I've been having a good time. I hate this shirt. I've always hated this shirt. It looks stupid.
You wear a lot of the beach colors.
I grew up on the Jersey Shore, but it doesn't help. Yeah. But yeah, I got that whole week. Multiple times. I was actually having the thing where I closed my eyes. I was still seeing it like that night.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't been rocked like that in a little while.
Yeah,
especially with
some
your
shit like that'll
thing
fuck
and
you
the
up,
other
yeah.
thing. Yeah, it was just too much. It was too much. And that I just, I wanted to, it was a lot. So, I mean, if you want more of that, guys, if you
want more content, you can't unsee.
Yeah. If that's really what you're after. No, I mean, that's not what we're after.
That's actually a great tagline. The video podcast you can't unsee.
It's kind of fun. I mean, we're going to be doing a lot of fun.
Trademark pending.
That is a lot of kind of crazy stuff that we like to get into. I mean, we do it not like out of joy. Again, I was actually rocked by that kind of stuff. But we definitely go there. We definitely are like, these are the depths that we dive into, and I hope that we keep doing that.
Right. No, I want to know where the bottom is on humanity.
Yeah. And also,
I told you, I used to go to that Reddit that was just called Watch People Die. And that was something I was exposed to at a young age. I told you, I was 8, and a friend of the family fucking went to the video store and like, look, I rented The Sandlot, Evil Dead 2, and Traces of Death. These are all appropriate for 9-year-olds, right?
Parody. Why? 1987. That's a bummer.
Yeah. But so at a very young age,
was the original. Never mind. We'll get into it later.
At a very young age, I was watching videos of fucking like a dude getting his dick chopped off in a public square and people getting shot and corpses.
Yeah.
And with my own fear of
They
death,
call that a public cock block. Come on. A little something. A little
that's
fun.
pretty good.
It's a little fun.
They do lay it on a block at first.
They do. Oh, that's great.
But so I'd go to watch people die, obviously, in the time
I was
ISIS.
on we didn't have a lot of parental controls. I had rotten.com very early.
Very
on.
much.
I was, I mean, that was 7th grade when I was, we've all been there.
Yeah, as I followed it through. But like, I saw some of the worst shit ever on that Watch People Die Reddit. Because this was the age of ISIS, and ISIS makes like fucking ISIS is the fucking Google of snuff porn.
Sure,
like everything's fucking sleek and sweet design.
Doug Stanhope had that bit, Johnny John, and then he talks about they were cutting the headings out. I don't know if you ever heard that bit. It's a very good bit. Have you ever heard that bit?
I don't know if I've ever heard that bit.
Oh my God.
But what I'm getting at is I have seen videos of a 4-year-old shooting a hostage in the face in a ball pit.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
I have been desensitized.
Right.
I have looked into the abyss and it has winked at me.
I don't know what the coincidence is that all my friends have peered into that abyss in a lot of ways.
It's extreme curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of that.
It's the same reason we talk about what happens when you die on this podcast. It's a big part of the reason I hope it's reincarnation. You know why?
Right.
I'll be honest. Yeah. Hey, let's be solid here. Lucked out with fucking white dude.
Sure.
I'm tall, blue eyes. This is a pretty good fucking run if I get more of these. But as much as I got this, I want to be like a fucking Lebanese woman. I want to be a handicapped Inuit.
So brave.
I want to try. I want the sampler platter of existence. Okay.
I mean, that would be, absolutely interesting to try to see through someone else's eyes. I think that's very, very,
because I am empathetic. I want to know people's stories. That's why we have this thing.
Well, that's of course.
So
yeah.
So it's constantly fighting off whether I should just quit comedy and give all this up.
Well, you're dramatic.
Yeah,
you're a dramatic.
I could go back to music and be just as unappreciated there as I ever was here.
Of course. Yeah, you'll never find a
whatever I do, I need to bring music in. That is a major skill. I'm like the old fucking gunfighter. Like he hasn't pulled his gun since 1932.
I think people when they come out, let us know. I mean, if people want to hear more like comedy songs by Jesse, I don't know why you haven't dipped in. I think because you have an appreciation for just typical stand-up comedy, and by typical, I don't mean typical, but I mean standard, like the ancient classic craft of just like up in front of someone, I make something out of nothing. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways. But also, you have the musical talent where you could easily go in and I'm not saying musical comedy is easier, but kind of.
It can be.
But you also, I think with the perspective and the talent you have, it would be interesting to do it. That's why I'm surprised you haven't done it, especially, let's say, a weekend mic. That typically happens. They might be, wow, what? You're doing that? That sounds crazy or different than what we've had before, and you should do that.
Yeah, that might be my opening. Maybe my opening is I need to do cocaine. Is that what you're saying?
No,
cocaine.
No, I was just giving you the Russian kind of I've been watching Chernobyl. If you haven't noticed,
I can't watch that fucking show.
It is bummed me out.
Really?
I am super bummed.
No. It's not about that.
Why can't you watch it? It's all British people.
Comrade.
That's the problem you're having.
Comrade. The radiation is leaking out into the fucking tweedy little butlers talking about nuclear radiation in Russia.
Well, they did get all.
I understand it's a stylistic choice, but it immediately takes me out of it. I can't.
You don't think you're like a hard Russian man,
right? It's not like the old the Ten Commandments movie where.
So you liked all the
Egyptians.
miners. You loved all the miners in the series.
Yes.
Okay. You don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Nope.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought. The miners are like the tough. Never mind. You know what, guys? This has been interesting. Probably
has been interesting.
It's been a lot of fun. I am excited for where this podcast goes. I think we own the market, honestly.
Yeah.
On dark shit.
The fact that people keep it. Everybody says I love the fucking podcast.
Yes. We want to hear more from you guys. Let us know if you want something specific. If there's something like you're just like, oh, we'd love even more of the videos or more of the things. Let us know. It's easy.
What do you cocksuckers want?
All right. Well, that's
all I want is you to love me. I'll do anything. You want me to get rid of Neil? He's gone.
Let me shut it. Let me shut it down. Oh, you're done ranting. I was gonna, but no, it's good. So you can reach out to us. Let us know. Jesse, why don't you tell us where we can find your social medias
on Facebook? You can find me at Jesse Dram. You can find The Magical Misery Tour at Magic Misery Tour on Twitter. You can find me at Jesse Dram on Twitter and Instagram. I have a troll account on Twitter I haven't used in a while, but I've thrown out some fucking anonymous justice, giving people what for. And
boy.
Yeah, so just reach out. We actually have some good episodes coming up. Just confirmed Matt Hyams.
Oh, Matt Hyams is a goodie.
He's got a little baby, so it took a little.
He's got a little baby, but he's also somebody who really does look at the darkness. So he's got like a kid, but he's also he's very brash about how he views the world in a lot of ways, and that he's just
that's why he belongs here.
Yes, that's why he belongs here. I very much agree with that. I am neilwood.com for all the dates and details. Actually, Jesse and I are going to be on a roast battle actually this coming Wednesday. This might not come out. I could get an app, but you're right. But the whole point is support High Note. High
Throw
Note
it out
humor.
early. No one's gonna listen anyway, motherfuckers.
Support High Note Humor. All right. They run a great room, and I think we both have been there for years, and I think it's a
That's
it's a good
that's
thing
one
to
of
do.
our original stomping grounds.
They have other shows as well. So it's High
They
Note Humor
respect me and throw me up whenever the fuck I want.
Sometimes not that much. So come check that out. That's always a lot of fun. That's in Haddonfield, New Jersey, which people don't even know about, and it's great.
It's right off the Paco.
Yeah,
5-minute walk off the Paco.
A lot of fun. Premium comedy. So they do shows, they do all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I am neilwood.com for all my dates and details. Other than that, guys, go to November 7th at the Pop-In in Chalfont to go out to that show and support us for Nerds with Words. It's a great lineup. We have Sydney Gant as the headliner, Seamus Millar, Jeff Roser, just to name a few. You might have seen Jeff Roser on this podcast. I mean, geez, yeah. So, I mean, go out and see all those people. Other than that, people, Magic Misery Tour. Okay, and we love you guys, and bye.
I don't love you. Bye.
I'll make you hurt, baby.
This has been a DropTent Media production.